all, and welcome to the seventh part of the Quality Assurance Engineering series. I'm George Pligoropoulos. This is my LinkedIn profile if you want to know a bit more about me. So today is one main thing regarding techno-economical analysis when QAs should code or when QAs should not code. And this is actually very dependent on the tools that are available, because the opportunities as described below is measure how fast your fastest developer, let's say, to remove the human factor, can automate 10 scenarios using source code. And let's say you have a developer that's not so fast in developing, and you give him a tool. So today's tools 10 years ago might have been only source code, right, using Selenium. But nowadays we have codeless or scriptless or no coding, as they call them, tools. And you can ask some person to automate 10 scenarios, the same 10 scenarios, using these automated ways that the tools are offering nowadays. It's 2023, and more advanced tools are here to help our job, because at the end of the day, the source code that we're writing is not offering value by itself, right? But only through its executions and the findings that we get from these executions. Um, Therefore, it doesn't really matter if you code or if you don't code. The point is the final findings that is going to come out from the automation suite. And let's see who is going to help us with that. So let's go to this table here. Now, depending, we might do here, let me just remove myself. So this is automation tools for specifically for the web, and I have another table for mobile, and we're gonna test it in some other video. And the point is that these are like my top six, let's say, tools, and all of them are very straightforward. When I visited any of these websites, I knew what to do. Their messages were clear. And they were here to help. I could immediately jump into a trial mode to use the tool and experience it, which is very, very important to experience the tool when you first interact with that, rather than having videos explaining, etc. And so, yeah, please take a snapshot of that. And because this is has come out of Matt's research, and one of the things that we're considering here is the speed, because maintenance of the whole automation suite involves, like, right, creating these scenarios. Later, right, you might delete scenarios that you make because they might become redundant. And what this means is that you need to be able to cheaply create them, right? And finally, how you update them. The update should also be smooth and easy and fluent, um, because this is also very important when things are changing and you want to update the scenarios and you have a lot of them that you need to update. How it is to update a single scenario, or even a bunch of them all together. And we're considering here the cost. So these are all these costs are just indicative. Either me talking a little bit with the sales team of these tools, or what was found at the moment that this was written, which is near the end of 2022. And they had some prices in their pricing page. So this might have changed now, right? It's 2023, and so don't take this. Just use it as a comparison to see that at some point in time we had tools, like Mabel and Testing being up to 10,000 of dollars, while other tools, kind of startups, more simple, let's say, tools, were to 1,000, at the 1,000 scale. And you have some other companies like Catalan Studio, which offers an alternative because it's free locally, but you still need to be involved with code. And here, my personally favorite stack here, it's Selenium along with the Selene library and the PyTest framework to organize your scenarios, which is free to use, has Python libraries. The execution actually is very fast in comparison to all of those above, because a lot of those include cloud, so you have requests going back and forth from your computer. But the Selene, uh, it's actually very fast, and but it's source code based, so it's you have the lowest development speed. Development here is about developing new scenarios, right? Not actual code that you're going to use in your product. And yeah, so one of these, let's distinguish one of them, right? One of these that I like the most and we're going to show today is Backback.io. Is actually, you can check their LinkedIn. I have no affiliation with Backback, just I just like the tool. They're not paying me to say this. So far, I believe they have done a very straightforward and like very very good job in comparison to being a startup and a very small team. So it's impressive what they have accomplished. And let's give their tool a try because it's free to be used locally. So even if the trial has already passed for me here, we can experience the tool as it works locally. Um, and let's see, and think as I'm going to be using the backpack tool, think of Selenium and Selene and PyTest. How fast would you be to have the same kind of steps here? I'm going to come back to that later. So this is our tool of interest. Let's close this presentation and go to live, and let's try openai.com. Why not? So one of my favorite projects and new test. We're gonna test, I don't know, let's say navigation to playground. So we want to arrive somewhere here, and we want to, arrive all the way here, but not go all the way to playground. So yeah, so let's name this that. Verify that navigating, be very specific, navigating to playground through examples from the web page is working as expected. Um, um, what is the as expected? Of course, we have not really verified that, so this is not the best name of the test, but no worries about the name, we can change it later. Let's create a test. It says here openai.com, and this is pretty straightforward, and we can start recording. And this is gonna take us in Yeah, this is gonna take us in incognito mode in here in Chrome. We have already installed here the backpack automation Chrome extension, and let's start recording. Mhm. Sorry for that. Let's grab it again. For some reason, you might lose me now, but it's okay. You have seen me enough. Um, so let's have. So we are here at the. So we have this. This belongs to Backpack. This is not part of OpenAI homepage. And basically, because assertions are, quite easy and cheap, you don't have to think. You can include, even though you want uh, to navigate to something different, you can always very easily add assertions here. So let's assert that you can see this logo and that you see here the OpenAI. Just to make sure we're at the right context. And all of these can change. So we this is but the menu is likely not to change. So we're okay to include all of those here. Why not? Um, and scrolling, even though it seems to be recorded here, we don't have to worry about scrolling so much. And good, we scroll, but let's find ourselves. We have here the API, and one of those are the, let's say, examples. And we can assert more things of the footer, but we don't want this one because they might change it to 2023, right? And so you see, even OpenAI, which is dealing with so much advanced stuff, will not auto update this number here. But we can go back and cancel this assertion. And basically now we're gonna click on examples. One of the good things with Backpack, as they claim, is that uh, if the center of the if example is moved a little bit, or they're gonna try different points here in this box in case the click doesn't work when the scenario is being automatically executed. So let's click on examples. We have all of those here. Let's verify, first of all, that we arrived at the examples. This is also likely to change, but search is unlikely to change, and all categories. And yeah, we can also assert this one at the top left corner. And here, we can assert a couple of these. We can assert classification, and we can actually try to type here class, and we can assert that typing here class, we're gonna assert that these three are available. And then type here classification, and we're basically asserting that this one is available. As you notice, one of the cons is that with kind of all of these tools, that you cannot say that some items are not available now. Um, uh, which is a tricky concept of how we're gonna do this with clicking with your mouse here. Um, but nevertheless, you can add the manual steps later, as you can see. And basically, we're going to click on classification here. and we're gonna assert that the classification has appeared here and it has the tag of classification, and the description is most likely to remain the same. And here we can scroll a little bit down, have an example of have an API request. Let's say that we have Python as default and we always want that, so we want to assert that Python is here now. And by clicking on that, we want to navigate all of them, which is easy for us because we're just clicking and doing stuff. Node.js, so we're asserting that Node.js is indeed selected, curl, and again, asserting that curl is indeed selected, and JSON. Basically, we're asserting that JSON is selected. And basically, we can, we can click from the outside here now. Again, we can assert copy and actually click on copy, code copied, and actually clicking on X here, yeah, it should work. And now we want to click somewhere outside. We're gonna click here and assert that we are back here in examples. We can even click on examples, just record a click there that will do no action, but it means that if you can click on examples, then the pop-up window that we just saw is not available. And let's assert that there is this X icon here, and we're gonna click on that. And basically, let's say that we're gonna stop it here. Scroll a little bit to the bottom, nothing here, and let's say that this is all. This is our test, supposedly, and we have finish and close here now. And first of all, we have before being super happy that everything works okay, um, without no further ado, let's actually execute this to see what happens, right? Um, let's see this live. So this is not going to maximize the window by default. This we can set this in settings, and it does exactly the steps that we're doing. It does the assertions. We cannot see them, but they have this little nice purple mouse there in order for someone to see that something is happening. Classification. It's gonna scroll down automatically. It's gonna change Node.js to curl to JSON. It's gonna click and copy, assert the X, like, click on examples, click on X, scroll down, and voila, test one passed. Super. So imagine how fast we build this whole thing, right? Um, because this is testing here. Here you see 48 steps, like 48 steps, and it took us, a few minutes in this video to actually implement this. Imagine what you would do if you need to have this by code. And also we can break this here and make this as a component. Let me show you. So let's say that you have these first steps here all the way to the um, yeah, basically all the way to reach the footer. Um, and we're going to split the group here. Super. So Um, let's name it somehow. Let's say verify that scrolling to the API section of footer is available to the user, right? And anyway, the important thing here was to show the speed. Going to some other, mm, I think running cloud is not included anymore because we have exhausted our trial period. But the point is that if you have a new test and it really doesn't make any difference how you're gonna name it, you say insert an existing component, but we have no existing components because we missed of making this as a component. Make this a component, and no, not this one, but the first one. So insert an existing component. So we're gonna say, insert that, and we're gonna say record from here. Look how beautiful this is. So we're gonna let it. We're gonna just no hands on keyboard or mouse, and basically it did all the steps, reached up to a certain point, and basically we can do other stuff here like assert login and click login. You can see them these being generated here at the bottom, right? And we can say sam at email.com. We can assure that we're at the welcome back. There is the continue button, and we're gonna assure that there is a reCAPTCHA here. Um, we're gonna attempt to click on the continue. Um, we're gonna assert the reCAPTCHA and assert that we are at the same point as we were. No progress here. And basically, we might also assert this part, click sign up, etc. Anyway, you get the point. Um, what we're trying to achieve here. Now we're being asked to confirm the steps in case all that we did. We want to undo this, and it doesn't fit. So we can actually confirm those. And basically that's all. And you have a dummy here test and another test that makes more scenario that makes more sense. You can compile a lot of those components, as many as you like. Uh, you can hide these and focus on your actual steps that you want to actually assert here. And there are a lot of other functionalities, but this is not about presenting the tool, but presenting like uh, the main benefit of these tools. Imagine that having that, you can actually create lots of scenarios. But then someone might goes and ask, so what, do I need to use this tool and abandon source code altogether? No, because these tools are specifically designed to cover 80% of your needs. And they're going to be fast. You might have quickly, let's say, 1,000 scenarios using tools like that, like Backbug, but 100 scenarios, as in comparison, for example, 100 scenarios or 200 scenarios will be code based, and there's going to be the tricky scenarios that those tools cannot handle, right? Because imagine here that you wanted to start thinking like in code, to start thinking that this is like a function and you wanted to pass it parameters here, and you don't want, for example, these to always be examples. You want to make this more parametric. and start thinking of functions, and then you start thinking of functions, you start thinking of classes, and you start thinking of all this organization that you're going to have in code, and maybe you want to integrate various tools that will bring you, various. You can have uh, all sorts of benefits, etc. Um, but the point is that save your resources, save the coding part for scenarios that really, really, really need them. For example, this scenario, it might be testing something important because we want people to be able to go inside there and play with the examples, but there is nothing specific. It doesn't use any third-party components. Um, there's nothing peculiar. We don't want to execute any extra requests that we can send directly to backend in order to prepare our environment appropriately, for example, or anything like that. This is simply, a simple zoom mode check, simple steps that some user would do, but simple in order to execute them from one hand, but might be very of high value to the business. So you want a lot of those. You open your umbrella, you cover in breadth as many smoke check, as many functional areas as you believe that are required. Again, prioritization here is very, very important, and then you go with coding. Then you go with considering this part. Uh, so let's go back to the slides right here. Yeah. So you see that the backpack now. This makes more sense to you. It's simply intuitive, and it has a fast way to develop new scenarios. It's concept that's very basic. You keep it for that. You don't give more responsibilities to backpack than it should. For anything else, you grab here your Selenium, Selenium, Python, ideally, or any other programming language that you fancy, and you basically you start you exploit what the code can give you. You might find some library that can easily, for example, has can test. You can easily test uh, something that it's not it's not UI, right? It's for example, you might be checking some. You want to be doing API testing, for example, right? You're gonna use code, obviously. This is very straightforward. Um, or you might find some library for your charts. Imagine that you have some charts and you have elements on that, and you cannot click on those. The Bug or any similar tool or Ghost Inspector or testing, etc., will not understand the elements on your chart, but there might be a library that the chart offers you. Let's say that the chart is a third-part component, and this library enables you to pick the elements and do actions on them, and it could be an example of one restriction that you could have. Um, so again, think in terms of techno-economical. When should you code, when you should not code, and you'll be fine. And keep up to date with the latest tools, because I believe there are going to be more and more tools available, or the already existing tools are going to become more and more advanced. And this was and we might come back to this and to these automation tools to browse a little bit and play with the rest of uh, the tools that are mentioned here. It was George Pligoropoulos as the seventh part of the Quality Search Engineer series. And many thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, and see you at the next one.